Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the MJ Innocent podcast. I'm your host, Moonwalker Tanya. If you love Michael Jackson content, please consider liking and subscribing. If you are a MJ hater, then beat it. Alright, so I know that I have made a few videos talking about how Scott Ross confirmed that Wade and James refused to take a polygraph regarding their allegations. And what I will say is, when it comes to asking people who are claiming CSA allegations, that they should take a polygraph, here's how I look at it. If the person you are accusing is still here to defend themselves, then I don't think it's necessary as long as you cooperate with the investigation. Which Wade and James are also not doing, by the way. All they do is ask for extensions. And I do think it should be required if the person you are accusing is not here to defend themselves. And this goes to Michael and to even Hugh Hefner for that matter. And for those of you who do not know, the women from Playboy did a documentary series. It was called Secrets of Playboy. And I think it's sad that they waited until after Hef passed away to come forward. So, and those women, they're not completely innocent in that situation either. So, if it did happen, it's not 100% Hef's fault. I mean, we know he was a pervert, but I'll talk about that on my other channel. But, Wade and James claim they're telling the truth, but they refuse to take a polygraph. But the reason why I'm bringing it up in this episode is because there is another kind of polygraph test that they do on the Steve Wilkos show that they can use when someone is accusing someone who is no longer here to defend themselves. And that actually happened, and I was like, I wonder if this was the kind of test the court wanted Wade and James to take, but unfortunately, I don't know. But I'm going to let Steve explain what this particular polygraph test is.
Been living with this for about 20 years now, and revealed it 13 years ago, and you haven't believed her. So with this kind of lie detector test person, your husband is deceased, so Dan gives a evidence statement test, and he writes down that Ashley was very emotional during the pre-test interview. Accordingly, Dan ran a specialized victim polygraph test known as the evidence statement polygraph. This tests the veracity of the answer to the evidence statement question and eliminates emotion during the polygraph test of being asked a direct question if she was sexually abused as a child. With introducing emotionality into the charts, it would cause distortion, making the charts unreadable. So he goes on and gives her the evidence statement question. When you were under the age of 8, did your father sexually assault you? She answered yes. Today, did you answer that question in your evidence statement truthfully? She answered yes. And the results for Ashley's lie detector test is that she told the truth.
Now, like I said earlier, I don't know if that's the kind of polygraph test the court tried to request Wade and James to do. I think that it should have happened. It really shouldn't have been a request. It should have been a demand. Because, like I said, if you are accusing someone who is no longer here to defend themselves, then yes, you should be required to take a polygraph test before it goes any further, especially when you're trying to go after $1.5 billion. And it makes me sick to my stomach that Wade and James refuse to take it. The MJ haters still treat them like heroes when they're not. Wade and James are granted a trial, which is a complete waste of time and money, when there are real victims out there who want real justice. And no, justice is not money. So it's unfortunate, but like I said, if there was a law in the U.S. to protect the dead, Wade and James would not be doing this. And also, just as a reminder to anyone who does not know, Wade and James literally admitted in one of their interviews that if Michael was still alive, they wouldn't be doing this. So to Wade and James, shame on you. And you should be forced to take a polygraph before this went any further than it actually did. But the reason why you refused to take it is because you know that you weren't abused. Screw both of you. Okay, so let me know what you guys think about this. Like, do you think this kind of polygraph is possibly the one that the court system wanted them to take and they refused? Or I don't know how many different kinds of polygraph tests there are, but yeah, I really think that it should happen. You know, it doesn't matter who you're accusing. If they're not here to defend themselves, then yes, you should be required to take a polygraph test, instead of just expecting everyone to take your word, especially when you don't have any evidence. And yes, in my previous episode, we did see where there wasn't any evidence against the mother's ex-boyfriend. I get that. But unfortunately, when it comes to child molestation, there isn't always going to be evidence. But when every single accuser tells stories of what happened, they fall apart. They change their story. It falls apart again. They change their story. It falls apart again. And they only go after money. Then the fact that there wasn't any evidence is because there's a very good chance it didn't happen. And that's why it's so frustrating to me, because like Wade and James can refuse that polygraph, but Michael couldn't refuse that strip search. Michael even said himself that if he refused to agree to the strip search by the authorities, that it would have been presented as guilt. Michael said that he was willing to do anything to prove that he was innocent. But Wade and James, they claim they're telling the truth, but they are not cooperating because they're not victims. So I think it's very unfair. But I know that the Tom Mesereau is and Susan, like they're going to do a good job of destroying those two losers in court. Now, all we can do is just hope for the best. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you think about this, and I will see you soon. I love you.